because it'll be cheaper to work over there. They've got willing workers who work for a much lower level, and the master plan is to bring our living standards down, and then and raise the living standards over there in China up, and then we'll all be equally poor in a new world feudalistic system. Anything else, Dave?
Well, thanks very much. Just one closing comment. I did hear the CEO, Sam Palmisano, interviewed on CNN, and they asked him if IBM was an American corporation anymore, and he said, no, we're a global corporation. We're not an American corporation. So, unfortunately, I think it's all too true what Bob was saying.
And of course, the whole move is to globalism. When you hear that, you understand that these people are traitors to America. This whole idea of globalization is a subversive idea to destroy the sovereignty of our nation. They want to move overseas, fine, but they don't have a right to work against our Constitution and to hire people in government to work against our Constitution. The Constitution is still the law of our land, and until it's repealed, why it will be, and we have subversive elements at the highest levels of our government who are working to destroy it. They've sworn to uphold our Constitution, and they hate what it represents because it represents individual freedom under God. And they not only hate freedom, they hate God as well. Hey, thanks very much for calling, Dave.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, and our telephone number is 1-888-24-LIBERTY, 1-888-24-LIBERTY, or 464-8295 if you have a question or comment for our special guest today, Bob Chapman. So Bob, certainly the market seems to be on a steady drift down. It ended up at 6,547 for the Dow, but that's a lot easier to manipulate. I think maybe NASDAQ or the Standard & Poor is a better way to evaluate what's happening to Standard & Poor.
Well, I don't know the exact figure. I can get that, but it's broken down technically, and it's doing the same thing that the Dow is, and it will continue to do that. And, of course, on this program, we predicted all this, and we've said that the recession started 2 years ago, and at the beginning of February, we started a depression. And it's going to become, there's S&P now, it's 677. A breakdown was at 750, and then again 700. So they're all in free fall. Where they're going to end up, I don't know, but it's certainly not going to be upside. It's going to be downside.
And, of course, we hear these stock market analysts saying, well, now just hang in there, dollar cost average. It's only a matter of time before they come back again. What do you say to these people who've been saying that ever since the market started dropping at 14,000?
I asked them if they're suicidal.
Okay, we've got, it looks like Elijah or Elijah, let's just see here, calling from Paradise. Hi, how are you doing? Is this Elijah? Oh, I didn't get Elijah on there. There we are. Hi, is this Elijah?
I'm not the real one. I'm an imposter, but...
All right, fine. Well, okay, fine. Well, do you have a question for our guest?
Well, I just wish that I was a billionaire because I'd lay like $1 billion on you guys. I just love to hear the exposure of the Trilateral Commission and the Council on Foreign Relations and their dirtbag magazine, Foreign Affairs, that has been saying all this stuff for, 50 years? To hell with David Rockefeller! You're going to die and burn in hell, Davy boy, if you're listening. To hell with you. The Lord Jesus Christ is going to bind you hand and foot and cast you into the furnace of F-I-R-E.
All right, fine. Thanks very much, Elijah. And I don't think that was the real Elijah, but there was somebody calling from Paradise. Anyway, our telephone number is 1-888-24-LIBERTY, 1-888-24-LIBERTY, or 464-8295. But there certainly are the people within the Rockefeller family and the other wealthy families who work together for this internationalist dream. And what motivates them is the fact that they really are involved in the occult. And this is the common denominator as you go back and you look at our presidents. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was deeply involved in the occult. Harry Truman was a 33rd degree Mason and carried that poem, about, going into the background of the world government with him all the days of his life. And so that we find that here Richard Nixon was involved in the occult and calling in soothsayers, and Nancy Reagan was involved in the occult. Their husband, Ronald, was into astrology, and they actually directed all the things that they did. I mean, you signed a bill at a certain time. And, of course, the same thing was true with Hillary. She was bringing a medium into the White House to conjure up spirits. You can't understand what's going on today unless you understand the spiritual component of what's going on. Bob, I don't think most people have any concept of this. Do you?
No, they don't understand it. And when they hear it, they just kind of turn away from it, because even if they do understand it, they don't want to know about it. It's just like all the other things that we expose. The intelligent go into denial. The dumb stay that way.
Well, our job is to reach as many people as we can, as long as God gives us a voice, and we can still reach out across America by the miracle of radio and shortwave and internet, and really it is a unique opportunity, and it's sort of an awesome responsibility as well. Our telephone number, 1-888-24-LIBERTY, 464-8295, if you have a question for Bob Chapman of the International Forecaster. And certainly Bob puts out a fascinating newsletter. I read it twice a week, Monday and Saturday, and when it doesn't come, why I'm on the Internet to find out why it hasn't. Bob actually pulled a fast one. He changed his Internet address recently, and I suspect when I didn't recognize the address, and since I get 100 emails every day, I probably just erased it once or twice until they explained what had happened. Well, is your subscription base growing, Bob?
It certainly is, and I'm happy to say that. Hundreds of people every month, and it's because of the appearances and, putting the word out and giving people free copies. And I think that is really extraordinary at this time, because I'm told by professionals in the field that everybody else is losing 50 or more % of their base. So we're doing something that's right and correct, and we're giving people all the information they can't find in the mainline media. And anything you need to know is in that publication when it comes to business, finance, social, political issues all over the world.
In fact, I have some very expensive newsletters, but I'm going to cancel them because they didn't pick up this coming crash, and so many of the stocks that they were recommending, just have gone right to the floor. Whereas Bob has been telling us for a long time, get out, get out, get out. Well, I guess Bob Chapman, the International Forecaster, will be back in just a moment to wrap up today's program. When freedom fails, good men rot in filthy jails, and those who cry, appease, appease, are often killed by those they hope to please. You're going to have to decide which side you're going to be on. There really is organized evil. You need to go to my website, RadioLiberty.com. That's RadioLiberty.com. Pull down my November and December of 2008 newsletters. Pull down my January of 2009 newsletter. If you want to know how we have armed the Muslim world in preparation for the coming nuclear war, let me repeat that. How we armed the Muslim nations in preparation for the coming nuclear war, read my January 2008 Radio Liberty letter at RadioLiberty.com, the Sybil Edmonds story. Read it and weep, and you can check it all out on the Internet. Nothing there you can't check out for yourself. And then, of course, our number again, 1-800-544-8927.